Well, then, the Eastern Conference first round has been finalized, and the Ottawa Senators have found themselves out of the playoffs. Now, I gotta say, there's really nothing you should hang your heads over here. Just like how I said in the Canadiens elimination video yesterday, I said that Montreal really shouldn't hold their heads. They should hold their heads high, if anything, because of the sense that nobody thought they were going to get here. And it was kind of the same thing for Ottawa. Some people thought they were going to make it in this year, but overall, a team that hasn't made it in 8 years, it was a little bit of a question if they were really going to break in. And they end up getting it done. And as a result, they make it to the playoffs. They do lose in 6 games to the Toronto Maple Leafs, which I'm sure they're not particularly happy about. But again, this is a year of major positivity. You know, you start off by getting Linus Ullmark at the Stanley Cup Final Game 7. That kind of changed everything. You sign him to a 4-year contract, I'm pretty sure. You bring him there. He plays very well during the regular season. He gets injured, and you're like, oh no, we're done. We're done. That's it. And then Levi Marilainen comes up from Belleville, plays unbelievable, and then Linus Ullmark comes back. The Sens, led by Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, etc., they all play very good, and they end up breaking into the playoffs for the first time since 2017. That is something you can hold your heads high about. And I think that for a team like this who had a lot of new-time playoff players, like these guys played their first playoff games over these last week or so. And I think that a lot of people kind of overlook it in a sense where they played good considering the fact that this was their first ever playoff run for most of the guys on that team. And it gives them much needed experience for, first off, how the playoffs work, how, you know, you're going to run yourself into the playoffs and how hard you got to work and the grueling hits. And, you know, sometimes the calls won't go the way you want them to. That's how it works in the playoffs. And we've seen a lot of that, especially recently. And I think that since Ottawa's in there now and they've been in a playoff series, they now have that experience that they can carry on into the next season or so. Now, I just really don't know next year because, you know, there's a couple other things you got to look at. They were the first wild card spot. Are they good enough to get a top 3 spot in the Atlantic Division? If not, can they beat out teams like the Rangers and the Blue Jackets and the Canadiens this year at a maybe more competitive level? I'm not sure. I'm not so sure, to be honest with you. But right now, for the Ottawa Senators, I don't think you should be holding your heads about anything whatsoever, besides holding them up high that you made it to the Stanley Cup playoffs. In terms of the offseason and what this team really wants to do, I think you need to add a little bit more defensive depth. I thought that, you know, their bottom 2 pairings weren't particularly great. Maybe add some more depth to the forward core as well. But overall, this team looks like they're in a good spot. And I think that, you know, you see guys coming up in the pipeline as well. You see the guys who have been there with that core. They are playing very good. I think that overall, it's just an overwhelming amount of positivity from the Ottawa Senators at this point in this year. And I would not hold my head down whatsoever about what they have done this year. Now, I understand that, you know, losing to the Toronto Maple Leafs is not that great. But even still, you put up a good fight. Again, as I said, like, a lot of the games were close. And, you know, we did the commentary on here for, I think, 3 of the 6 games. And I thought that overall, Ottawa looked good in most of them. I just thought that they made some common playoff mistakes, which are pretty common from a first-time playoff team. So, again, I really don't blame Ottawa here at all for this loss. I think that Toronto was just the better team. It feels like kind of a different year here with Toronto this year. So, yeah, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Obviously, Toronto will move on and play Florida. We'll get that season preview out very soon. But as of right now, I'm just trying to make out these elimination videos and get ready for Game 6 tonight of St. Louis versus Winnipeg. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.